Should have done this after I called roll. Reminder. Just joking. Okay. I handed you guys all a syllabus and I'll keep them for funsies. Why not? I hope you have a great day and that you find where you're supposed to be quickly so you don't miss that seminar. You do not? Is that what you said? It's the first day. We're all just making it. Well, I don't know if I do this with audio. Unsure. We'll see how that goes. Syllabus first. I I've been teaching at CSU. This is the beginning of a ninth year here at CSU. I love my job. It's not all wonderful, but the wonderful parts mostly outweigh the bad. And I am just thankful to be able to teach at a university like this one. A lot of schools like this are, um, sort of tightening things for money purposes, shall I say. Um, and so it's nice that we have some security here at CSU and the opportunity to do this. My husband is a math professor here. Some of you may have had him through the calculus sequence. Your name is Sherrod. You had him through the calculus sequence, maybe. Janaya, you did not have that opportunity. For what? Oh, fun! No, he's teaching Cal 1. Yeah, I think that I think that he has Cal 1, but you know what? I don't even know my own schedule, so. Oh, yeah, so you're starting over the rotation over again. Yeah, that makes sense. So anyway, I do this because I enjoy teaching. I enjoy teaching math. This is a really difficult. This semester is the first time I have taught this class to well, Corey is your name. I don't know about you, but um, when I checked this roster, oh no, you are not new. Amber was. Um, I none of you are math majors. This is an intro to upper level math, and I'm going to teach to a bunch of computer people and a chemist. And a chemist. So we're gonna just do the best that we can. Yeah. A lot of this is not math. Like you're not gonna be doing algebra or whatever, but we're gonna prove that four is even. We're gonna do a lot of things that it's a lot of logic stuff, and then we'll do some like computer machine things too, which I'll fumble through and it'll be fine. Um, but anyway, so this class is going to be interesting. This was my favorite class as an undergraduate student. Was the intro to proofs class because I love writing proofs and I love the logic involved and like how you have to sort of like it's sort of like knowing if you have me for pre-cal, sorry. It's like knowing what the puzzle looks like what the finished product is supposed to be, and like figuring out how to put the pieces in the right order to get there. And like that is fun for me. And so I enjoy teaching this class a lot. I'm excited about it. It'll be a good time, I hope. I was saying this before. Oh, Lord. I have our stuff. I sent you guys that Teams thing. So what we're going to try to do is record everything in Teams. And since I added you guys by your email addresses into the team, what I hope is that when you get into Teams, there's a little thing that says like files, and you can click on that. Microsoft Teams, you use your Microsoft thing, get into Teams, and you hit the files thing, and then all of the videos from class should be there in theory. And we can look at that together some on Friday if we need to. Okay, so we have here, we're going to cover some things. We're going to do some things there. They're listed, you can read. We're going to do homework, exams, and a final. We have 4 midterm exams that calling them midterm exams is sort of whatever. You have 4 like unit tests and then a final that's cumulative. Homework's 15% of the grade. There's going to be 2 types of homework. There's going to be online homework in WebAssign or Cengage WebAssign, and then 10% will be like written homework, paper homework, problems from the book, or problems I write. I have I've decided this semester that I'm going to redo this class, so it's a work in progress. I am writing your first homework assignment. It's up on my computer right now. It's halfway written. So I'll post that today sometime, and then y'all have it. You'll be able to do probably half of it after today. Sound good? Yes, sir. Good to go. The dates on those, I didn't change any of them. I can change them as we go, but like the first 3 aren't due till the Tuesday after Labor Day. So you guys, but we'll finish those this week. So today and Friday we'll do those 3 sections, and you should be able to do those over the weekend before they're due on that. Nope, they should be good to go. I posted them. I am adjusting the written homework because they're all questions from the textbook and some of them sort of suck. And I was using AI. I'm trying to use AI to my benefit to write better questions that maybe are like the examples hopefully are better, but also just like it's annoying for you guys. I know when you have an electronic textbook to do your homework in 3 different sections. It's like 2 problems from each section, and you've got to like find that place. And so I'm going to put them on one paper for you, but I've got to type them up to do that. And I'm in the process of doing the first one. Now, so I already redid the notes. So the things that matter are done, and I'm working on the rest. Okay. But yeah, the online homework should be good to go. Your stuff to get in there should be in like you should click any of those links in Blackboard, and then it'll ask you for stuff from Slingshot. Is that true? Yep. Yep. Okay. Yeah. The verification code or whatever should be in your Slingshot account. Yes? Okay. I am guessing there because I don't have those things. So tests are 15% of your grade each. You've noticed, hopefully, that your tests and your homework are worth the same amount. I mean, like 15% for a test and 15% for your homework. I really do care about your homework here. The point of doing homework is to make sure you understand the material. So if you're using the internet to do it for you, you've sort of missed the mark, right? That's not the point. The point is to know if you understand what you're doing. If you do, great, do it, finish it. If you don't, come and see me before you turn in something that's blank. My office hours are up here. So before this class and after this, well, before this class on Monday and Friday, and then a big chunk on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So anyway, I'm around. You can also email me for help. From the online homework, you can just like click a button and it'll send me an email with the link to the question that you're having trouble with, and I can help you with that too. Okay. Electronics, I'm a no laptops person in class. That's about your classmates, not me. Um, or you really. That's about your classmates. If Sherrod, you were watching, I don't know, what's the thing that you like to watch? I was gonna go Grey's Anatomy, but that feels like a not real. I always use Grey's Anatomy as a student told me one time that they watched Grey's Anatomy during one of their classes. It wasn't Janiyah, but it might have been in the class with Janiyah. No, somebody in it was in that room anyway where we had class together. SpongeBob. Okay, so that would be very distracting if Sherrod decided he was going to watch SpongeBob on his laptop right here because he doesn't care about this class. Like, fine. But to Corey, that would be really distracting, don't you think? And so, like, it's a respect thing for your classmates more than anything else. So, attendance, I got to take attendance every time. I don't really follow the FA policy in here. If you miss that much class, you're going to fail anyway. I mean, maybe, I don't know, whatever. Outside resources, again, this is a thing I was talking about a minute ago. If you're using AI or Mathway or whatever to write your proofs for you, you've missed the whole point of the homework. The point is not to do it successfully. The point is to learn. Yeah. And so let me help you do that. Don't go to the internet for help. Um, I mean, you know how to use the internet in a way that is useful. The internet is a wonderful thing. Don't use it. Don't abuse it, I guess is the point. Makeups, we don't do makeups for tests or anything. We can talk through that if we need to when the time comes. I will email you guys through Blackboard. If I do announcements, I'll click the like send an email button too so that they're there. If you need to email me, don't do it through Blackboard because it just goes to some universe that I'm not part of. So send it to my email address and I will actually see it. If you send it to Blackboard, I'll see it, but it'll be like a week later. Okay? Okay. Unless you hit that email also button when you're in Blackboard. There's one of those too, right? That like says send this as an email. Is that a thing? If you we can try that out, see if it works. If we have to, I have two children. Did I mention that? I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, and the 4-year-old can't keep her hands out of her mouth, so she is very germy. Um, yeah, hopefully I'll get to be here every day, but probably won't happen. So if I have to miss class, I'll email you and we'll figure out what we're gonna do. Okay. Disability services, if you have accommodations, you should use them. So make sure you have all your paperwork set up and email it to me. I'm going to ask you to do your course evaluations when we get there. We have a new Title IX coordinator. Her name is Summer Cora. She is great. She is taking this very seriously as it needs to be taken. So if you feel like you are being discriminated against for any reason by campus people in any capacity, talk to Summer. If you don't want to talk to Summer, talk to me, and I'll talk to Summer for you. We have our tentative schedule here. I've never in my life actually stuck to this schedule, but this is our goal. This is, I don't know how many times I've taught this class now, at least 6. And I have never stuck to the schedule. but I do try. But that's the thing is that we are going to maybe, I don't know where it is that y'all are going to get stuck, right? And wherever that is, we're going to camp out there and make sure you get unstuck. And that's got to be okay. We're going to have to be flexible. So like September 20th is our target test one date. Probably going to have to move that to that next class, but hopefully not. Hopefully we'll get there. So anyway, the final I can't move, so we'll be done by then. It is on Saturday. Go ahead and plan for that now. I got to book a babysitter because my husband and I both have finals. That's time on that. So anyway, go ahead and plan for that. Don't go home or something. You have finals that following week, so probably don't do that anyway. But yeah, that Saturday morning we have our final at 10:30. Okay. Any questions for me? No? Feels good? Yeah? Doing okay? How many of you are, okay, Brian, we know you're a chemistry major. What's your minor? Oh, so you are a math major?
Yeah.
Like a double major?
Yeah. And if I don't finish it, I just go back to
To the minor.
Still graduate again.
Cool. Janaya, your computer science? Okay. Computer science? Cybersecurity? Computer science? Computer science. Only one cybersecurity and one math major, sort of. Sweet! You have a math minor? You should all have a math minor if you're computer science people. It's only 2 more classes. No, 1 more class. Easy, right? You should math. It should you have would have to take a lot more classes from cybersecurity to no from to cybersecurity. Well, it's a pretty big jump in kinesiology. Cool, because you had done enough classes at that point. That's good. I'm not sure what that will do for you in the cybersecurity world, but yeah, true. Cybersecurity for in a hospital. Yeah, cool. That's true. You'd be ready for that, maybe. Or you could program the thing. No, a human body can't bend like that. Yes, right. Yes. I love House. That's a good show. Okay. Any questions for me about anything before we do some math? Y'all, it may be irritating to some of you, I don't know, but I do try very hard. I this class is the class where I feel like you guys are most on top of your own stuff, so I don't have to do that for you. So like those dates of September 3rd for some of those homeworks, like that's a long time from now. I know that's next Tuesday, so it's like a week and a day, but like we're gonna do some of that stuff today. So would it be wise for you to wait till Monday of Labor Day when you should be, I don't know, celebrating Labor Day to do that homework? No, no, it wouldn't be. But I'm not going to change the dates because you are capable of figuring that out for yourselves. Yeah. Then there's also the homework, like written homework that you're going to have, probably 13 of those assignments. I will post that today or tomorrow, and I would assume that we'll have that be due. The thing with having, I hate this, and I'm sorry, having class on Monday and Friday is really hard. That's a really long time to go between seeing you. And to give you to cover something on Friday and ask for you to turn in that homework on Monday seems cruel because like you should have a weekend too. Um, but at the same time, like waiting till the next Friday is totally unreasonable. So you guys got to work with me. We've got to figure out what works for us. If like turning things in electronically on a Tuesday or a Wednesday works for you, that works for me. Or turning it in to Rachel at the desk in 206, like you can do that too. Does that like, what do you think? Do you want to think about it? Okay, I can make assignments in Blackboard where you would upload there. I hate that. I hate grading. It's really bad. So I'd rather you email it to me, especially since there are only like 8 of you. There are not 8 of you here, but there's supposed to be 9 of you. I'm hoping there will be 8 of you. So, I was excited to add Amber, but Amber would not be excited to add Amber to this class. Well, 12. This is low. It's low. And it makes me kind of sad. Like, are they going to make this a once a year kind of class? I don't think that they can. But it's going to be really good for you because you're all going to have the opportunity to talk through things and to learn things. And like, you're not going to get lost in the shuffle here, right? Which, if you wanted to do, sorry, this is not going to be the place for that. So, but yeah, we can do homework, however it seems like it'll work best. The first set of homework is, I think, 2-1-2-2 and 2-3. So probably do next week sometime, and I'll get that posted as soon as I have it all written. Other questions? Anything else? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I handed you the notes too, right? I have uh, I have many extra if you need some. Should be 28 pages. Don't, but we're not panicking because remember, this is the notes for all of test one, which is test one is going to be maybe September 20th. So, okay. So before we actually start, let's talk about why you're doing this. Why you, as math majors, it should make sense. You need to learn how to write proofs and stuff, because that's all upper level math is, or can be. For you computer science people and security person, this is uh, like you're writing program type of language. Things should flow, and so we're going to work on that flow, and making sure like this step follows this step, and like all this makes sense. Um, there are a lot of connections to computer science that mostly Jackson has sent me, and I can pull those up for you if need be. But um, Jackson was like, Jackson is very adamant about how helpful this class has been, or how useful it has been in doing other things. So I I don't know what the connections are. I had one coding class in college, um, but and I'm terrible at it. It's fine. Hello world. It is fine. But the I do code now because I like write all my notes in LaTeX. So, but I don't understand how the things work, and I always had those like for loops that would never end. It's fine. Um, but anyway, we're doing it so that you guys get a feel for logic and flow and like communication, especially if you're doing something in like cybersecurity, communicating with people and making sure that things like make sense is important. So that's what we're doing. Taking, like I said, you kind of are going to know what the puzzle looks like, and we're going to put the pieces in the right order to get to that finished puzzle. So let's start with a definition. Um, this is my first time through this new set of notes too, so like we're just gonna I think it all makes sense, but it's hard to know when you do it. Like I did this myself, knowing what I know, not what you know, right? So if things don't make sense, you stop me and we'll talk about it. Okay. All right. So a statement or a proposition is a declarative sentence. It's either true or false, not both. So we have some examples. All trains are blue. That's a statement. It's a false one. While the sentence x equals 1 is not a statement by itself because we don't know what x is. So not knowing what x is means like, well, if x was 2, if I knew x was 2, then I would know that this is false. But because I don't know anything about x, I don't know if it's true or false. Does that make sense? Okay. And then like all trains are blue. I know that that's not true. How do I know that that's not true? Because I have seen a non-blue train. Yeah, good. Okay, so we're going to work through these together to determine if they are statements or not statements. So again, a statement is a declarative sentence that's either true or false. All boomers are hippies. I just want you to tell me now if it's a statement or not. Yes, it is a statement. Maybe I will just go with check marks. We can talk about truth or falseness later. Taylor Swift is the best musician of all time. That one's an opinion, which makes it not a statement because you can't prove whether it's true or false, right? Okay. Today is Monday. Yeah, it's fact. So it is a statement. This one's true. Um, 4 times 5 plus 6 is 27. Is this a statement? It is a statement. It's a false statement, but it is one. Did we say that this was false? Y'all think this is false? Oh, the hippies one. Today is Monday is actually true. This is false. Um, 4 times 6 plus 3 is 27. Is this a statement? Yes, and it is true. Good. X squared is 4. This is not a statement because we don't know about X. Okay, good. Questions or oh gosh, there are many more examples. I don't know why I thought we were done. Sorry. Number 7. There exists a real number X such that X squared equals 4. Yeah, good. And it is true. For all real numbers X squared is greater than 0. It is a statement because we know about X. We're giving a thing for X, right? We're defining what X is. So it is a statement, but it is, oh gosh, why did I put a comma right there? It is a statement, but it's false. Why? 0 is a real number. Yep. So that for all real numbers thing is like the train, right? All trains are blue. For all real numbers, X squared is greater than 0. It's not. What about when X is 0? So if that was greater than or equal to, that would be true. Okay. The derivative of f of x equals sine x is f prime of x equals cosine of x. It is a statement and it is true, right? Alrighty. The square root of 2 is an irrational number. That is a statement and it is true. And if you're like, how do we know? We're going to prove it later. It'll be exciting. Number 11. Let p be a prime number. This is a supposition. Okay. So often when we do this, we're going to use letters and symbols to like stand for things. Um, so like you see like for a given statement P, so we're going to use letters to talk about statements. The truth value, we're going to use a T for true and an F for false. I started doing that and then realized that we hadn't talked about it, but surely you put that together. Um, and then we're going to create new propositions or new statements by using these connectives, not and or, and then if then. So symbolically, what these look like, not is like a little squiggly thing, and is like a mountain, or is like a valley, if then is going to be an arrow. We're going to talk through each of these now, but symbolically, that's what those connectives look like. Okay, so given a statement P, the sentence, it's not the case that P, ooh, there's a lot of text on the screen at one time. Um, it's not the case that P, that's also a statement. So it's raining is a statement, right? It's not raining, also a statement, right? So we typically are going to just call that not P, and we're going to do this squiggle P. That's not P, that's negation. Two statements P and Q. P and Q is also a statement. We're going to denote that by P Mountain Q. That is called a conjunction. It's an and statement, a conjunction. Two statements P and Q, the sentence P or Q or both is also a statement. In math and logic, we're going to just write that as P or Q because the both is included in that. And we're going to denote that by P, V, Q, P or Q. This is called a disjunction. Our last connective here is the if then. So we have these statements P and Q. The conditional statement or an implication, if P then Q, is denoted by P arrow Q. This is P implies Q. That Q is true whenever P is true. We're going to talk more about this later, so don't panic. But the only case in which if P then Q is false is when P is true but Q is false. There's a lot happening right there. We're going to talk about an example and make that make sense, hopefully, in just a minute. But P is the hypothesis and Q is the conclusion of P implies Q. Okay, any questions so far? We have our implication, we have our disjunction or conjunction, our negation. Anything else that you got that you have questions about? You're good so far. Want to see some examples? Sure. Okay. So how many of you have looked at a truth table before? Yeah, good, 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 good. Okay, so a truth table is just like a way to organize all of the options. So you have this statement P. Well, the first the first column here is going to be my options for what P is. So P is either true or P is false. And it's just going to be a way to organize those things into a table. So P can be true, P can be false. Those are my only my two choices. Think about flipping a coin. I flip heads or I flip tails, right? So those are your only two options that could happen. Well, if these are the options that can happen, then with these, what is not P? Well, so you use the first column there. So not P here, not true would be false, and then not false would be true. Does that make sense? Okay. So the example we talked about just a second ago was that P is it's raining. So not P would be that it's not raining. Okay. Our conjunctions next. We're going to do the truth table for that. So you notice right here that for a conjunction, you need two statements P and Q. So those first two columns are done for us. Again, we're organizing our information. So P can either be true or false, and Q can either be true or false, right? So if you think about flipping two coins, what are your options? They're both heads, both tails, one of each, right? So you got both heads, both tails, one of each. Right, so this gives you your four options for how P and Q go together, how you can flip those two coins at the same time. And so if P and Q are both true, then P and Q is also true. What's an example of a P statement we could talk about? Good. The walls are, is this blue? Is that blue? I don't think they want us to know what color it is. So we can't tell if it's discolored. I'm going to go with the floors are blue. We'll all remember that maybe it is. Okay. So the for P and Q, right? So the walls are white, the floor is blue. We think, yeah, that's true. They're both true. So together that conjunction is true. What if the walls are white and the floor is turquoise? I don't know. Brown? It would be false, right? If I'm saying that these two things are true and one of them isn't, then I'm, not telling the truth. What if the walls are actually pink and the floor is blue? It'd be false too, yeah. Um, Sorry, I should have written this down. The walls are white and the floor is blue. Okay, how about if the walls are pink and the floor is gray? It'd be false. So for a conjunction to be true, both statements need to be true. Good? Okay. With that same example, so now we're looking at disjunction. So this is our or statement. Um, we have the walls. Oh no, that's not how you spell wall. The walls are white. I haven't written in a long time. It's very strange. I feel like I have, but the walls are white and, or I meant or the floor is blue. So if I'm saying P or Q, again, we've got these first two columns, which are not going to change. True, true, false, false for P, true, false for Q. Again, think about you flip 2 coins, you got 2 heads, 2 tails, 1 V. Okay. Um, so P or Q here we have the walls are white or the floor is blue. And they're both true, right? Good. How about the walls are white? I don't know. This is not the example is not working for me anymore. But what if the floor was right? Thank you. So if a floor is not blue, and I say the walls are white and the floor is blue, it's true, right? What if the walls are actually pink and I say the walls are white or the floor is blue? Still true. What if we have pink walls and brown floor and I say the walls are white or the floor is blue? So for a conjunction, you need both to be true. For a disjunction, you need just one. Alrighty. And then our implication. I'm kind of panicking. Y'all can't see this, but the little thing in the bottom corner, this is what this looks like for me. I don't know if I'm presenting our screen or not. It looks like I am, right? You can't see this. You don't know. You can't help me. We'll just all watch it later and we'll see. Oh, now we just have no. Okay, there we go. The implication. The implication or the conditional here we have again our two options for what P and Q could be, either true or false. And then we're trying to talk about the implication, true, or P implies Q. I wrote down an example for this one to make it make sense. Yeah. Here we go. P, it's raining. Q, I get my umbrella. So our P implies Q statement here is if it's raining, this is our if then statement. So if it's raining, then if P, then Q, I will, or I get my umbrella. Just put this truth table here for you and then explain it later. I think, yeah. So If it's raining and I get my umbrella, both those things happen, then my implication was actually an implication. It's true. If it's raining and I don't get my umbrella, then this implication is false. These next two are the thing that's going to bother you, hopefully, a little bit. These are both true. If it's raining, then I'm going to get my umbrella. Well, if it's not raining, it doesn't matter whether or not I get my umbrella. The conditional is true because you can't prove that it was false. Okay? So I say to you, if it's raining, I'm going to leave class. You can see that it's not raining right now, right? So then the question is, was I lying to you? Well, I mean, the second one does matter. If the first statement's false, the second one does not matter. Yeah. So anything that starts, any implication that starts with a false statement is going to overall be true, no matter what is happening next. This is sort of like what should be the American legal system, where you are innocent until proven guilty, sort of a thing. That we're gonna assume that I didn't rob that bank because you can't prove to me that I did, right? And until you can prove to me, then I'm not lying, I guess. The example I always use I teach this in Math 105 too. But I like say, I have this campaign promise. This is a touchy thing right now, but like, let's say it's like campus campaigning, right? I'm trying to become class president or something. And I'm like, if you make me class president, I'm going to get us all free pizza. If you make me class president, then we're going to get free pizza. Okay. So if you elect me class president and I get you free pizza, I wasn't lying. If you elect me class president and I don't get you pizza, I was lying, right? We're in this situation, I was lying. If you don't do your part and elect me class president, then that's on you. Whether you get your pizza or not, doesn't matter. Because you can't prove that I was lying and that my campaign promise was a lie. So that's like, this is the trickiest thing I think that we're going to cover in the first like few classes is understanding this and the negation of an implication, but we'll get there. So English is weird and often bad, and we use words like but when we mean and. Like, it's raining, but the sun's shining. And we mean it's raining and the sun is shining, right? And that's a strange way to speak. So being careful with how you do that is important, especially when you're doing stuff like this. Using either, both, commas, things like that are going to help us to be able to tell what we're actually doing. Okay. So we are going to right now express each of these as English sentences and then decide if they're true or false. So A is that 6 is an even number. B is 6 is a multiple of 4. Would somebody like to do A? Wait, hold on. I'm trying to decide what your name is. Hi, Eunice. Is it already 11:50? Here, have these notes. Andy Solis. Eunice will be joining us every day at this time, which is unfortunate for her, and why we're going to record everything in Teams, and it's going to be important that you guys can find that later. Okay. Your name is Jacob. Are you Jacob? Okay, Jacob, what were you going to say? Sorry. I don't remember what the question was. Okay, do A for us. Can you write it? Can you say what it would be? No, you're fine. And you decided that that was false. Good. And why did you decide that that's false? Good. So you're taking a true and false conjunction there, which makes the statement overall false. Good job. All right. Next up, who wants to go next? Good. 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 Okay. Somebody else want to go? Sorry, I'm not listening. I'm trying to figure out what your name is. You or Michael? Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Saying not A, six is not
Why?
six is.
Good. Good. Okay. Somebody else? Ah, Eunice, Eunice, hold on. You go ahead, Sharon. Good. Oh my. Something happened with my writing there. This is true because it is not false. Good. Eunice, I left you a hard one, sorry. Do you want to do E or F? Oh yeah, you can. Yeah. I mean, overall, sure. Yes. Okay, hold on. Let me catch up with you. So you said this is true and false, which is going to make the inside part false. And since it's not false, it's going to be true overall. Yes, that's true. Can we do words? Okay. This is hard. I'm anxious to see what you say. Go ahead. We can if you want. I'm going to say it is not the case that and that's it. Don't be sorry. I'm gonna need to tell you guys a little hint. I didn't do these because doing it in words is really confusing. And I'm gonna teach you how to do it in a minute in a better way. We're gonna come back and do it then. Does that sound good to you? Because this is confusing, right? And it's like, am I supposed to be communicating clearly? Because now I've lost it, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be saying, where that not goes, what's happening, right? So we'll come back to this in a minute. We're just going to leave this one alone for now. Sound good? Or do we want to try that one? Let's try it. I don't know why I keep forgetting your name. Jacob! But that's wrong. And let's talk about why. Because that would have a different truth value. Hello. Count 1, 2, or 3. At 12:30, it will be in here with me, but not yet. Okay, so what you said was this. but
That's
correct. What it is it's. So we're gonna get, this is called De Morgan's law. It's got a name, so it's important and perhaps not uh intuitive, right? Which is why it has a name. Um, but the reason is because when you, if you distribute that negation, it's gonna, because you have this or statement, right? The the truth value is gonna change when the negation's on the very outside. So if we look at this, so either this is true or false, right? And it's not that. So this is going to be not true, which is going to be false overall, right? If we look at what we were talking about just a second ago, which is this thing, this is going to be a not true or a not false, right? So this is going to be a false or this is going to be a false or true. So this is going to be true overall, which isn't the same as this, right? So it doesn't work like we want it to, and like we think that it should, just like a lot of things in math. So um, we're going to come back to it in a minute. Once we can do DeMarcus law, we'll come back. Okay. All right, G. All right. What? This is a true implies false scenario, right? So this is like you're saying, yes, that I told you you were gonna get pizza and then I didn't give you pizza. It doesn't actually follow from the conditional part, the hypothesis and conclusion. So this is overall false, yeah. Okay. How are we doing so far? So far so good? Fine, anyway. Um, oh my goodness, we're doing so good. Maybe we will have that first test on September the whatever date is there. I'm not even gonna try to remember it because it probably won't happen. But let's do some truth tables. I so being able to write a truth table is important. Um, and so we're gonna practice. The first two are relatively easy. The second two are gonna give us something to think about. Okay. So for A, we have these two original statements, right? So we're looking at P and Q are our original statements. Wow, I can't draw a straight line. That's going to make this very awkward for the next little bit. It's going to be fine. I can erase very easily. You cannot, so good luck. Um, so we have P, Q as our two original statements, and every time these first two columns are going to be the same. I flipped two heads, I flipped two tails, or I flipped one of each. Are we following that? So I do this the same way every time. I'm going to do true, true, false, false, true, false, true, false. Yeah? Okay. So these are the ways that I could flip two coins and have these results, two heads, two tails, one of each. So again, we're just organizing our options into a chart. So what I need is a column for everything that we need to do, which I need to know not P, and then I need to do a conjunction with not P and then my Q column. Okay, so my not P column, this is the, I need to actually do this. The not P, I'm gonna go, I'm looking at one or combining one or two columns when I do this. I'm not doing a bunch of steps in my head, right? In theory, I could do this in my head. I'm probably gonna miss a step, and then the person who's grading it isn't gonna be able to figure out what on earth you did. And so a column for everything, right? So your column should either combine two or negate one of the columns that you have already. So we're doing out here, we're gonna look at this column and just negate the whole thing. So it's gonna be false, false, true, true. We good? False, false, true, true. And then last, we're gonna combine two of these columns with a conjunction. We're gonna combine this column and this column. So we're doing an and between those two. Are you guys with me or not with me? Okay, so we're doing an and between those two. So we have A true and a false gives me a false. I have a false and a false. I have a true and a true. I have a false and a true. Good, y'all. And there's your truth table. Sound good? Okay. We got more stuff going on B, but our first two columns are going to be the same. We have statements P and Q. P is going to be true, true, false, false. Q is going to be true, false, true, false. That gives me my options of two truths, two falses, one of each. Okay, so somebody tell me some columns that I need. You don't have to raise your hand. Not really ever. P or Q. Good. I got to do P and Q first, and then I can negate it. Okay? And then the whole thing. Yep. So I'm going to call this is going to be 1, and this is going to be 2. I'm going to do a 1 and a 2. Does that make sense to you guys? Yes. So I'm going to make this part 1, this part 2. I'm going to do 1 and 2 with this column instead of writing all that stuff all over it. Good? Okay. My P or Q column. I'm looking at an or statement between those first two columns. So true or true? True or false? False or true? False or false? Okay. This is weird to do out loud because, people just yelling true or false out loud is weird when you may be in a different spot. So do you want me to just do the whole column? You want me to do it? Somebody, you want to do it for us? Janaya? Sounds good. Thank you for volunteering. Can you do P and Q for me? Mm-hmm. 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 False. Good. Good. All right. I'll negate that because that is easy. I can do that. I won't challenge you. We're going to negate the column that Janaya just did. All right, and now what we want to do is to combine these two with a conjunction. So we're looking at an and between those two columns. So, false, true, true, false. Now you can imagine if you use lowercase f's and t's, I'm going to have some trouble, and so are you, following what on earth you're doing. And if you're not using lined paper, sorry, you are also going to have problems. These are only 4 rows, so we can figure it out. But how many rows do you think the next 2 truth tables are going to be? They're going to be 8. Why, Jacob? Good guess. I love it. Because 8's a number. It appears that we're growing by a factor of 2, right? This is exponential growth. Why? Yeah. So if you look at an ordered triple, right? Let's think about this. You have these 3 spots. A heads or a tails can go in each one. How many options do you have for that first spot? And the second spot? And the third spot? And 2 times 2 times 2 is? Y'all are,
We need to know how to do arithmetic.
y'all are silly. My professor walked out on the first day of my class. We told her that 2 cubed was 6. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. And so what this is going to look like for us is however many variables you have, your truth table is going to be 2 to that many rows. So if there are 4 variables, there are going to be 16 rows, 2 to the 4th. Maybe you can use a calculator to determine that. That'd be good. I'm just kidding with you. Jacob, don't be offended. I know you can do exponential arithmetic, right? Okay, so we're gonna have 8 rows here, and the way that I'm gonna do this, y'all, is I'm gonna set up my P and Q the same way. Now, this is different than like a textbook is gonna do it, and that's fine. You can do it the way the textbook does if you wish. But this is how it makes sense to me. I'm gonna have PQ, but now I have this third variable R, right? Or a third coin that I'm flipping and trying to decide if I'm getting a heads or a tails. So my P and my Q are going to be the same that they have always been. True, true, false, false, true, false, true, false. Right? 2 heads, 2 tails, 1 of each. Yeah? Now, my third variable, that third coin with each of those 4 options can be true, heads, or can be false, a tails. So I'm going to rewrite those 4 things as my next 4 rows. True, true, false, false, true, false, true, false. So R, that third coin, is either going to be heads with those 4 options or tails with those 4 options, or true or false, depending on how you're actually thinking about this. Now you can see like, well, hey, Dr. Thomas, if I did this like 4T, 4F, 2T, 2F, 1, like you can do that. Which is putting this column first, right? And sort of working your way down in the way the true and falses go together. This means I don't have to think, which I'm sort of always looking to do. So anyway, this is how I do it. You can do it differently. If you do it with this column first, like you're still gonna get all 8 options, right? Just I'm gonna have to figure out where my rows are and where yours are when I'm grading it. But that's a me problem, not a you problem. So how are we gonna do this? What columns do we need? We got P, we got R. What? Q and R. Yep, good. Michael, is that your name? Yes, good. All right. Yes, Michael. What else? That. Good. We're gonna do P and column, that column. Sorry. I do it without talking a lot of times. That's fine. My husband always tells me to, he says, can you look with your eyes before your mouth? Like I'll ask him like, where is this thing? I haven't actually looked for it. Sorry. I can't judge you, you see. You who first throws the first stone. I don't know what you, well, I was going biblical, which there are no glass houses in, but yeah. Wonder if they could have made a glass house. I don't know. Okay, Q and R. Focusing. We're doing that. We're looking at an and between these two. Yeah. Oh my goodness, there are a lot of falses here. So I'm writing some falses here because I see a false. So there we go. Look at me. I wouldn't suggest doing it like I just did. Maybe go through them one at a time, not just working your way around randomly. Did you get the same thing as me, maybe? Good. All right, now we're looking at that first column, this one, and oh, Lordy. That's an eraser. There is an undo button, thankfully. I erased that whole column. Okay, so we've got this and statement. Now, true and true, true and false, 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 whoa, false, false, wow, false. Do we agree? Did you guys get just the one true at the top? Awesome. What do you think? We can do this, right? This is a doable thing. Awesome. Who would like to take charge of part B? Okay, Sherrod, I'm listening. Next. For me to keep up with you, but I'm impressed with myself for doing it. Treasure thing. Yes. Okay. Now, I know y'all were like, can we talk about De Morgan's laws yet? Yes, we can. Sure, I always make people take pictures of the things when they help me do them so they can do them later. I'm moving on. Good luck. I'm just kidding. You did it once, you can do it again. But don't tune me out. Okay. Two expressions are logically equivalent if they have the same truth value for all possible combinations for all variables appearing in the two expressions. That's a lot of words, no? X is congruent to Y. That's those three equal signs, three bar equal sign. X and Y are logically equivalent. A much nicer way to say this is that they have the same truth table. Final column. Same final column. Obviously, they can't have the exact same truth table or they would be the exact same statement, right? But the final column is going to match up. So this is De Morgan's law. We were talking about it a little while ago, trying to put into words something with a negation on the outside is strange. And so you can put that negation on the inside, but when you do that, you have to flip the conjunction to a disjunction or disjunction. So ors become ands become when you negate them. So the negation of P or Q is equivalent to saying not P and not Q, which makes sense, right? It's P or Q. Well, it's not P or Q, so it's not P and it's also not Q. So we're gonna do this now with this thing. This like double bar is to indicate that I'm like doing a different truth table, but we don't want to write the P and Q columns all over because they're the same. Okay, so P or Q, we're gonna have true, 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 false. And then the negation of that was gonna be false, 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 true. So what we're gonna be looking for is for this column to match this column to say that those two things are equivalent. Oh, that makes that hard to read. Let's change that. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so we want these two things to match. So we're going to go through there now. The negation of P is going to be false, false, true, true. Then we're looking at false, true. Ooh, ooh. My T looked like an F. It was very bad. False, true, false, true. And then an and between those two. So we're looking at false, 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 true. Hey, looky there, they do match. These things are equivalent, so these two things are equivalent. And then the same the other way. So the negation of P and Q is not P or not Q. If it's not this and this, then it's not this, or it's also not this. So we're going to do this one too. Again, we're going to be looking for this column to match this one to say that those two things are equivalent. So P and Q, we're looking at true, false, false, false. The negation of that is going to be false, true, true, true. Okay, we'll be ready in just a few minutes for you. I love when people are ready to be in class. And for those to be my students, which they are, I mean, unless she's also in the wrong place, then I'm excited. That pre-calc class is going to be fun. All right. So I'm sorry I cheated and I just copied and pasted my not P and not Q columns. Y'all got to actually rewrite. But now we're going to do an or between these two. So we'll have false, true, true, true. And look, those do match. We didn't do anything wrong. That's great. And so there you have it. Those are De Morgan's laws. Cool? Yes, sir.
I would
Yeah. And then you flip the connector. Yeah. So you distribute the negation, but the negation of the conjunction or disjunction flips that thing upside down, whichever way it was. So let's, yeah,
is there a
there's a negation of an implication, which we'll talk about on Friday, which is not an implication anymore, which is weird.
sound confused?
Yeah. So we're going to do, I think, because we have 6 minutes, I think we can do these 3 examples and finish at a nice clean place and start talking about a tautology on Friday. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, you all good? Okay. The negation of this statement, Ken is going to take a job in industry or go to graduate school. So what I want to do first is it's easier for me to look at symbols than words. So I'm going to look at the symbols of this statement. I'm going to put some symbols to it. So we're going to say his job in industry. Do you want to go with an I or a J? A J. So Ken is going to take a job or Ken's going to stay in school, right? I want to negate this statement. So this is our statement. I want to negate this statement. So I'm going to be looking at the negation of J or F. And what do we know that that is equivalent to now? Good. And so how are we going to put that into words? There's a not here. I should have written that separately. And will not go to grad school. Does that make sense? And then like thinking about this in words too, like he's going to take a job in industry or go to graduate school. And he's like, hey, wait, is there a third option? Like, I'm going to do that thing. So he's not going to do this or this. Well, then he's not going to do this. And he's also not going to do that other thing. All right. So this is what Eunice did when she walked into class, which was admirable. It's false to say, or it is not the case that 6 is even and a multiple of 4. So what's a less clunky way to say that it's false to say that 6 is even and a multiple of 4? So how do I write this in words that makes more sense? This is the example of E or F that we, what? You can answer. Go ahead. There are only 7 of you. We can talk however much we want. Also, if it's too much, I'll tell you. 6 is not even, I'm not afraid to do that. I don't know why I wrote that as one word. 6 is not even or not a multiple of 4. Okay, that was good. Now we'll have somebody else do this when it is not the case that 6 is even or a multiple of 4. So it is not the case that 6 is even or a multiple of 4. What is it the case that? No, you were right. 6 is not even. And good. Is that making sense? Using De Morgan's laws, you're going to distribute the negation, you flip the and to an or the or to an and. Awesome. I feel good about where we got today. I will post that homework as soon as I have it written. And Eunice, I recorded class. You should be able to see it in Teams. Okay, check that. It should be in the files. Y'all all check that and see if you can see that, okay? You're welcome. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you on Friday. Have a great week. I'll see you Friday. Or you can come see me in my office hours. They're on your syllabus. I don't know what they are yet, but I'll be there.